As a teenager, you want to do a lot of things with your friends, buy a lot of things for your family, and most often for yourself. But if you step away from that and do things for others, sell products that are actually good, and serve your customers, they will do the work for you. Refer others through word of mouth and make you wealthy. This is one of the things I learned in my journey from $0 to $3 million in revenue. But Andrew Tate went from 0 to a net worth of over $300 million. So we're not going to listen to me, but to Andrew's advice on how to become wealthy from an early age. So by the end of this video, you have learned the 7 valuable money tips from Andrew Tate. Let's start with number 1. In Andrew's interview with Patrick Bet-David, who's by the way worth of over $200 million after he made an exit with his insurance company, PHP Agency, Andrew mentioned this.
I choose to only allow myself to be influenced by those who I believe have my best interests in mind.
I choose to be influenced by those who have my best interest in mind. But then you may ask, how do I find out? Well, Alex Hormozi explains how he does this. By the way, he's a successful entrepreneur worth over $100 million.
Try and talk to as many of them as possible, and then you will gather the insights and you'll see the people who demonstrate the most expertise.
So step 1 is to try to talk to as many advisors as possible.
And what you can do is take what one person says and say, well, what about this? And see what they reply with, right? And as you gain more and more knowledge, and this is how you, so in the consulting world, this is qualitative research, right? This is where you're literally doing interviews, essentially, to gather information so that you can make an informed decision.
So step 2 is to get as many knowledge from them.
This is the lazy part. This is what most people don't do, is they won't do this work. Right? They won't take the time to interview 20 people or 10 people when in reality, these one decisions that can be one of the most, if not the biggest influence on your total net worth over a long period of time. And people take more time to figure out where they want to go on vacation than where they're going to put their money.
So step 3 is to do the work and be patient, because it could be the most important decision in your life.
If you put these lenses on, think about both of these lenses. Lens 1, do I think this person is integrous? Do I think this person has my best interest at heart? And then 2, do they have the skill to deliver on that promise? Because I don't want my mom doing my investments. I know she has my best at heart, but she has no idea what she's doing. And then I don't want somebody who absolutely knows what they're doing and does not have my best interest at heart.
So are you going to make an important decision, but do you feel you have a knowledge gap? Then find the best skilled people in that area. Think deeply if your incentives are aligned. If not, then restructure the compensation so they do have your best interest in mind. Tip number 2.
I had a friend who was a personal trainer. He used to go to the gym every day and he used to train people. He didn't make that much money. People would miss appointments. It was like £50 an hour. He'd get there, get back, blah, blah, blah. I said, listen, brother, you used to, he didn't at the time, look fantastic. How about you spend the next 6 months getting absolute killer shape? Then put up a bunch of pictures on Instagram of you in killer shape, and then put together your workout plans and tell people they'll look like you even though they never will. And sell that for $7 or 10 pounds or 15 pounds and sell it by your Instagram. And he went from making $2.5 grand a month or $2 grand a month as a personal trainer to 15 grand a month without ever going in the gym. He only went to the gym for himself because he was selling information. So
sell information of something you're good at. It's a huge thing among influencers, as you may know. Andrew himself does it with the real world. But also Alex Hormozi, Jordan Peterson, Iman Gadzhi, and even billionaire Charlie Munger, who's the right-hand man of Warren Buffett, one of the richest men on the planet. They all sell information through their books. But honestly, this only works if you're really good at something. So tip number 3 is to build your skills. Here's the most important skill, according to Andrew.
Say, if you're going to say to a 20-year-old who's truly exceptional and driven, I'd say you need to become a master communicator. Because once you can do that, you can do anything. And that fixes all the other problems, right? We talk about making money. If you're a master communicator, you do fantastic in sales. You'll kill sales. You'll absolutely destroy sales if you're a master communicator.
Become a master communicator. How? By practicing. I believe it all starts from vocabulary, because if you know all the words in the dictionary, don't you think you can always find a way to explain yourself or convince someone? Listen closely to the following.
Oh, the odd word, like I use perspicacious a lot, indefatigable I use a lot. I have favorite words I use.
Compendious is one of your favorite words.
Compendious is another word I like to use.
What is that? What is that?
Compendious means presenting information in a concise way.
Oh, wow. Compendious.
So I'll often say, like, I'm a professional, I'm particularly compendious, and I'm concise.
Gotcha.
I'll say that I'm a professional, I'm particularly compendious, and I'm concise, and then I'll make my point. So regardless of what the point is, before I've made the point, I sound like a genius.
Right.
So Andrew, do you have like a, where are you picking these 5 words from? You're just going in the dictionary and just going?
There's a bunch of free email lists you can go get from dictionary.com that give you word of the day.
Oh, okay.
On your plate, I'm going to put the meat to...
Even on Patrick's Twitter status, he said, describe the matrix in 1 word. And I said, beguilement, the word I chose. And that was a word I learned only a week ago.
A week? That was a perfect, just put it right in there.
Beguilement means to amuse or distract away from wickedness or dangerous.
So that's what I do too. I learn the word of the day from this website that I like the most after trying 8 different ones. And I expose myself to the same word for 17 days. So I repeat the definition and example sentence for 17 words each day. So 10 years from now, I almost learned 5,000 new words. Tip number 4, listen closely to this story about a 17-year-old car spotter.
And I said to him, why do you do this? Like, you spend all day standing around taking photos of other people's cars. Is that not a waste of time? I thought it was a waste of time, but I was wrong. He goes, oh, well, I skipped school and I skipped college because I knew if I take pictures of expensive cars and email them to people, I'll have email addresses of the richest people in Romania.
Yeah, smart.
I was like, you're clever. I ended up hiring him. He works for me now.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, I like you. He got himself a full-time job that day. So he understood, be near the money. I have no money. Money's over there. Well, let me get closer to it. Like, no point staying over here on my fucking own. Let me at least get closer to it. That was a 17-year-old kid. Now he's making 10 grand a month in Romania from me.
So get closer to the money. Be surrounded by people with the same ambitions and who are further ahead than you. So that's what I did in 2020. I started a co-working space for e-commerce entrepreneurs together with a business partner. And honestly, it was one of my best times. So try to get closer to the money or people on the same mission. Tip number 5.
There's no such thing as a man without a network. If you are alone, you will perish. You will be crushed. You will. If you think of the most scary guy in your city, he's scary because he knows mobsters, he knows gangsters, he knows judges, he knows the police. He owns things. He has staff. He has assistants. He has a driver. He has bodyguard.
If you are alone, you will perish. If you wonder how to network, here's the only thing you need to focus on.
I'm going to give you the number one tip that networkers won't normally share with you, because this is how you really network in the real world. Instead of trying to figure out some hack or some memorization trick, what you do is you become the most valuable person to everyone else in your network, and they will introduce you to the people that they want to gain status from by making the intro. For example, if you're good at marketing or you're good at selling, help everyone you know at sales and at marketing, and they will make the introductions to other people when they come to terms, because they know that you will provide value to that person, and so they will gain status by connecting the two of you because you'll provide value on behalf of them. And that is how networking really works.
So become the MVP so people can gain status from sharing their network with you. Tip number 6, develop a phone addiction. I know this maybe sounds ridiculous, but let's hear the reason why Andrew Tate said this.
If someone were to say to me from absolute ground zero, how to get rich? So I would say do 2 things. The first thing I would say you should do is develop a phone addiction. And you should develop a phone addiction, but you should refuse to consume content and only create content.
So produce, don't consume, and never watch the news.
I don't want to be the product for news, because news is what a lot of people don't know is like news stations are private. So like, they're just like HBO. Like, think like they're just like HBO. They have programming and people show up for their shows, and they have commercials, which is how they make money. And so like their intention is to keep attention, not to, you know, disseminate truth.
And this comes back at tip number 1, to spend your attention with people who have your best interests at heart. And the last tip.
So I say this to people, look, how many ways have you tried to earn money? You earn money X way. How many other ways have you tried? Because you need to try a whole ton of ways, and you got to make a bunch of mistakes like a scientist does to find the thing that works. And everyone's heard this before, right? And then they'll say they have 2 hurdles to do in. 1, they're lazy. And 2, they'll say, well, I have ideas, but I don't know how to start. Or I have ideas, but I need money to start. So then you have to look at your business ideas and your plans and find a way to remove the need for money to attempt them. So my philosophy on business is this: any business in the world that could genuinely work without investment.
Excellent advice. So start a business and remove the need for money, but don't focus on investing your income.
If you're a normal person with a normal wage and a normal income and you're focusing on investments, you're making a big mistake.
And that's my bonus tip to you. Learn from other people's mistakes. If you want to learn more about mine, I write the best newsletter on YouTube. It's free, and I promise to not promote or spam you. By the way, I'm Jordan. I made over $3 million in revenue, and I hired over 50 people. It's my goal to make these videos so good, so you actually want to share them with someone you know. And remember to start living your life like it is a documentary, because it is. Someone is just not filming you yet. Subscribe for more.